Good morning and welcome to Law. My name is Peter. I'm the law teacher here at Bede, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the courses that we run here as well for you. If any of you have any questions as I'm going through the information I'm about to give you, please pop those questions onto the Q&A section on the Teams app, and we'll obviously get back to those as soon as we do. So like I said, my name is Peter. I've worked here at Bede for approximately 5 years now, working in law, and not only do I teach law to A-level and BTEC students, but I also teach law to adults as well. And on the flip side of that, I do a little bit of performing arts as well. So that's just a little bit about me. But back to the actual courses itself. Like I've said, here at Bede, we cover 2 different subject areas. We cover A-level law and we cover BTEC law. Both of those courses are taught at level 3, and both of those courses will give you an A-level or an A-level equivalent at the end of a 2-year programme. In terms of content, what you will actually study in your first year is you will study what we call an introduction to law and practice. So this is covering what we call the English legal system. Where do laws come from, how are laws created, and who creates those laws. So we look at the role and function of Parliament, and as you can see on the board there's a picture of the House of Commons. So we'll look at the roles and functions of the House of Commons in the creation of law. We'll also look at the roles and functions of the House of Lords as well, and how they can help with the creation of law as well. Not only that, but we also look at the role of the court in the English legal system. We look at where a case might begin and where a case might progress to, depending on the type of case it is. So we will look at the criminal law courts, and we will look at things like the magistrates' courts and the Crown Court, and how trials actually operate in there as well. Not only that, but throughout the year you will be given an opportunity to actually visit the law courts. So you will learn the theory of how a case progresses through the system, and then you will actually see it in action. So we will visit the combined courts in Middlesbrough as well as part of that particular course, and that's available for both the A-level students and the BTEC students. Not only will we cover that as well, but we'll also cover administration and law. So one of the things that we will look at are police powers. So we look at the police powers of stop and search and the issues surrounding the powers, whether or not they've got too many powers, whether or not those powers are restricted. We'll also look at the police powers of arrest and detention and the police powers of interrogation. And that's what we call the administrative area of law. On top of that, we will also cover different substantive areas of law, and one of those key areas is criminal law. Now, criminal law is covering crimes such as murder, so we'll learn about the different rules relating to murder and when a person can be charged and convicted of murder. We'll also look at the distinction between murder and what actually is constituted as manslaughter, and we'll look at live cases. So we'll look at cases involving Peter Sutcliffe, who's the Yorkshire Ripper. And we'll look at cases where wives have killed their abusive husbands. We will look at cases where people have lost control through anger and they kill their partner, or they kill a person on the street. And we look at what obviously drives that person to do that, and what the law does and how the law actually prosecutes those individuals. So that's your fatal offences element. We'll also look at areas such as non-fatal offences. So we look at assault and battery and what the law is in relation to those, and what's the distinction between the two. We'll look at crimes such as actual bodily harm, ABH or GBH is what they're commonly known as. We'll also look at property offences such as theft, robbery and burglary, and look at the distinction between those 3 different types of crimes. And again, throughout all of that, we'll be looking at live cases. On the flip side, another area of law that we will look at in your first year is civil law, or what we call the law of tort, which is this area here. Now, the law of tort is commonly known as negligence. You might have heard of it online or through the radio or on the telly. Have you had a slip, trip or fall and it's not your fault? Those types of things or those types of cases are civil cases involving negligence. And this is where somebody has caused you or another person injury, damage or loss due to their fault. And it's where you can actually claim compensation from that individual, and we'll go through the areas of law in which you can do that. And those areas of law involving personal injury. We'll also look at things like occupier's liability, where the owner of a premises will owe you liability. And again, with that, we'll be looking at live cases as well. So cases which have already been and already documented throughout the courts, And one of the key cases that we will look at, which I'm sure everybody's heard of, is the Hillsborough case. And we look at the police's liability towards those victims in Hillsborough who were all crushed at that football ground. So we do look at a lot of different cases involving civil and criminal law. Now, in terms of the A-level and the BTEC, we cover the same content in first year in both of those different courses. So the content's exactly the same. The only thing that is different is the way that you are assessed. Now, with the A-level programme, you will do 2 units in your first year. Those 2 units will be examined at the end of your first year in 2 different exams. Unit 1 will cover the English legal system and criminal law, and Unit 2 will cover sources of law, so how laws are created, and the civil area of law, which is taught. In your second year on the A-level programme, you will do an additional 3rd unit, which will cover legal theory. And the legal theory that we will cover covers situations such as law and morality and whether law achieves justice. So we look at quite controversial areas in your second year, such as euthanasia. We will also look at other controversial issues regarding abortion, human rights, and so on and so forth. So that will cover part of your 3rd unit. The second half of your 3rd unit in your second year will be contract law. Contract law is the most useful area of law that you will ever study. It affects your day-to-day life, and it will cover things in relation to how a contract is made, how the terms of a contract will operate, and it will also cover how contracts can be discharged, so how a contract can come to an end, and what remedies are available in terms of compensation and so on and so forth if a contract is breached. And that particular area of law will help you in your everyday life. So whether or not you choose to study law at a higher level when you finish college or not, that area of law will stay with you for the rest of your life. And you can use that area of law to obviously get yourself through your day-to-day life. In terms of the BTEC is assessed slightly different. So the BTEC, you will do 50% coursework. So out of the 2 units in first year, one of those whole units will be assessed by your coursework. And that unit will comprise of doing the English legal system. So we'll be looking at the roles and functions of barristers and solicitors. We'll be looking at where a case might start, where it might progress to, etc. And then we'll be looking at a small area of criminal law. So we'll be actually looking at non-fatal offences for part of your coursework in first year. That will cover your assault and battery, ABH and GBH. Your second unit is externally assessed. It's not an exam, it's an external assessment. So you will be given pre-release materials a week before the external assessment date, where you will have to research a particular area of civil law, which will be negligence, and you will have to collate a series of notes. You will take those notes into for want of a better word, an exam room, and you will be given a scenario where you've got to advise a client regarding that particular area of law that you've researched. The external assessment is approximately an hour and a half, and you'll have to write 2 different reports as if you're acting as a solicitor giving somebody advice. In your second year on your BTEC, you will be again assessed by another coursework unit, which will cover a civil area of law of tort. And then your external assessment in second year will be purely criminal law and police powers. So you will start off by looking at an investigation in terms of a person's been arrested, they've been detained, they've been interrogated, and then they'll be charged with a particular criminal offence. Now, that criminal offence could be murder, it could be theft, it could be robbery. We don't know that until obviously we get our pre-release materials for that external assessment. But the external assessment is on criminal law in second year, and your coursework is on the civil area of law in second year as well. So just to obviously recap there, your A-level is 100% examination based, and your BTEC is 50% coursework and 50% external assessment. And it all depends on what your preference is. Both courses are level 3. Both courses have pretty much the same outcome. So obviously your A star at A level is the same as getting a distinction star at BTEC. So you get the same UCAS points in relation to those. It all depends on what your preference really is, whether or not you prefer exams or whether you prefer coursework, etc. On top of that, a lot of our students who've studied law, some of those students have gone off to study law at university, and the students that have just left this year, there's a few students who were going off to different universities across the country to study law. Other destinations from law as well include criminology. So we've got a few students going into criminology. A couple of students in the past have gone into government and politics at university. But you might be sat there thinking, well, I don't really want to go into university. You might have an interest in law, you might want to work in practice, but you might not be interested in university. Here at Bede, we are the only college north of Leeds, or the only centre north of Leeds, who offers a natural progression into the legal industry. And what we run here at Bede, after your A-level programme, is a certificate or a diploma for the Chartered Institute of Legal Executives. And you can actually train at college 1 night a week to become a Chartered Legal Executive. The qualification is a level 6 qualification. It takes 4 years in total to complete, 2 years at level 3 progressing on to level 6. But at the end of that, you can qualify as a Chartered Legal Executive and work in a law firm as you are studying. So you will first qualify as a paralegal after your first 2 years when you've got your level 3 certificate, and then you can progress on to that to do your diploma at level 6, where you can obviously become a Chartered Legal Executive. If you want to become a solicitor after that, then your firm that you're working for, or you yourself, can pay for a conversion to actually transfer that qualification into a solicitor's qualification and practice as a solicitor. And that's called the IELTS programme, and that's available to you, any student at Bede, and any student anywhere else for that matter, but any student at Bede who finishes their A-level programme can be offered a place on the IELTS programme as a natural progression to train as a legal executive if you wished. On top of that, we also offer apprenticeships as well. So post A-level qualification, you've got to have at least 2 to 3 A-levels to be accepted onto the apprenticeship, because it's a higher level apprenticeship. We offer legal apprenticeships in paralegals, and we also offer the level 6 apprenticeships as well as a natural progression. The only difference with those compared to the IELTS programme is that you would need to have a placement in a law firm to be accepted on that course as well. But we can help you with that. So not only do we obviously cover your A-level programme and your BTEC programme in law, but we also have that opportunity for you to go on to that natural progression into IELTS. And that's just an example there of one of the manuals that you would actually cover in IELTS at level 3. Okay. One of the things that you can look at as well, if you're interested in doing a little bit of forward reading, there is a website called eLaw Resources, which gives you a brief overview of different areas of law. And on there are some live cases as well. So cases that have been obviously decided in the past that you can obviously read through to get a little bit of an idea of different areas of law. So that's eLaw Resources. And there's a few documentaries as well that you can have a look at online. My advice is, if you are interested in law, if you go onto the college website, there is a 4-week preview booklet for law that you can have a look at. And at the back of that booklet, there is a series of useful links that you can obviously look at. And on there's a list of documentaries, different things that you can watch, just to get a basic overview of that particular area. Okay, there's no questions. Well, if you don't have a question now, or if later on you're watching this, and you think, oh, actually, I would like to ask that question, please feel free to drop us an email. My email is peter.rowlands, that's ROWLANDS, @stockton.ac.uk. And if you want to pop a law-specific question to me, then by all means, you can drop me an email at any point, and I'll get back to you as soon as I pick that up.
One question has just come through.
Yeah.
Do I need any revision guides or books straight away for A-level law?
You won't need any revision guides straight away at all. What I usually do is every year I get a little bit of a discount voucher from the publishers. So I will ask students collectively who wants to order those particular revision guides, and then we'll order them in bulk and get you a little bit of discount. So don't buy anything just yet. In terms of textbooks, we have all of our textbooks online. So within the college, we have a facility called an Athens account. and you have full access to that Athens account for free. And on that Athens account is our textbooks. That is the textbook for first year on the A-level programme, and this is the textbook for the second year on the A-level programme. But both of these textbooks are already uploaded electronically onto our Athens account. So you'll be given full access to that as soon as you enrol at the college. If you're going on to the BTEC programme, that's the actual BTEC textbook that is available. But again, the BTEC textbook is also uploaded onto our Athens account. So you can access that electronically without obviously having to go out and buy that yourselves. If you prefer to have a hard copy, then by all means, if you want to go out and purchase those, you can. Just a word of warning though, with these textbooks here, there is a new edition coming out within the next year. And some of the information that is in this textbook is now outdated because the law has changed since then. I think the first one's okay, but there is definitely an update in the law in relation to the second book on theft. So just be careful when you're reading those through if you do purchase those, because obviously there has been an update since publication. But there is a new book coming out. So what I would suggest is don't necessarily buy one just yet. All right, use the free ones that we've got available on our Athens account when you join us. And then obviously when the new ones come out, if you want to purchase those, you can. Okay then, well, thank you for joining me this morning. I know it was early, but thank you for obviously joining in. And if you're watching it later, like I say, if you have any specific questions at all, please drop me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.